And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2021 NOSSCAR Super GT Series, live here on Gran Turismo Sport, driving the GR1 cars, no custom setups, and the balance of performance setting that the Gran Turismo game offers has been turned on. So the horsepower and weight has been adjusted for all of these cars to maintain a bit more of a competitive race, and these drivers will be a bit more determined in the results based on their driver skill. As a result, 14 drivers lined up on the grid. It is a rolling start, and the green flag has been shown, and it's the two-time NOSSCAR World Champion, Even Steven, leading him to the line to begin the race here at the Willow Springs International Raceway, the big Willow layout. Oh, and already NASCAR oof, Jesse Carlson goes off in turn one, and it's going to be a battle of survival here, and it always is at the Willow Springs International Raceway, round 10 of the season. These drivers have a pretty good idea on where they're going to finish in the final standings. Some of them have a goal in mind, and they're going to need to keep these cars on the road course, on the pavement, to get a good result at the end of this one and get some good points. Right now, Even Steven pulling out by about 4 or 5 car lengths over the battle for the second place position, and that is between Strider and Timac. Just behind them, the other Canadian there is Ned. He's got a couple of wins this season. Jesse Carlson yet to find victory lane this year. He's stood on the podium alongside the 2 other drivers a few different times here in 2021. And of course, former GT Cup Series champion, that is Pac-Man, currently scored in the 6th position. It is a 60-minute endurance race. Again, folks, no custom setups, no custom tuning. They can make minor adjustments, such as like traction control and things like that. But it's pretty much all they can do at this point. They've got what they've got. Working lap 2 now in these GR1 cars. They're laying down hot laps here. It's a very short track, a very short circuit from what they're used to. A couple of drivers kicking up dirt. Battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is still on, but they begin to string out a little bit behind them. Drivers from 5th, 6th, 7th, they have a couple of car lengths in between them. Everybody getting sorted out and situated. They know that if they push too hard in one of these corners, it's very easy to go off course and lose a handful of positions. And taking a look at number 21, Bill Baldwin, driving the Toyota. He got really out of shape there coming out of the final turn. He's going to spin right in front of Jeffrey Robinson Jr. I don't know how he missed it. And that's unlike Bill Baldwin. He's a 2-time NOSSCAR Super GT Series champion driving these GR1 cars. And he goes off course again, but this time over in turn 1. Got to believe the tires are dirty. And he's going to gather it back up and get it back on the racetrack, and it definitely costs Jeffrey Robinson Jr. as well. He is way behind and now scored in the 11th position when he was just up there in the top 10 along with Bill Baldwin. And as soon as we turn the camera on Bill, that's when all chaos unfolded. Shadow was able to dodge it, but he lost some time. He had definitely had to lift off the throttle, and now he has left Kyle Bowers, Scorpion, and Pac-Man to battle for those 6th, 7th, and 8th positions. It's now a 3-man dance to find out who's going to be the lead car in this line to try to make a charge up there to the top 5, the top 5 battle. And it looks like this. Working lap 4. And you can see the leaderboard on the left-hand side of your screen. 2-time world champion Even Steven out front in that lime green car, driving away. Closest competitor would be one of the 2 Canadians in the field, and that is Timac. He's got a win this season, and that was the Rolex 8 since then. He's been winless. He's stood on the podium once since then. Since then, though, it's just been mostly top 5 finishes for the 2018 world champion. Ned, of course, 2 wins this season. One win as well in the GT Cup Series over in the GR3 cars. And he's running there in the 3rd position in that Ice T car, Twisted T. Jesse Carlson closing in on him in 4th. Silt Strider qualified 2nd. He's dropped back into the 5th spot, but still right there with these drivers battling for a top 3 position. Keep in mind as well, we've seen fuel strategy become a big part of these races. Some drivers electing to take it easy on the fuel and try to make one less pit stop in the race, maybe take less fuel on their pit stop and have a quicker pit stop that way. So there's all sorts of strategy going on throughout these races. We've seen it all season long. Just because you're running up there in the top 3 or the top 5, it definitely doesn't mean you're locked in and going to finish there. All sorts of strategy always here in these NOSSCAR Super GT Series races. We saw a yellow flag back over there in turn 5, and we didn't see exactly what car it was. It might have been Robert Lohman Sr. And there you see him, his car is actually still ghosted. Could be a glitch, or it could just be they're electing to, might be one lap down, and that might be why his car is ghosted. There is a rule that we have where the lapped cars go one lap down, and Robert actually just had a huge issue over at the entrance to pit road trying to get to his pit stall. Hopefully he can recover from that. Long way to go. We are working lap 6. One driver has dropped out, and that was Lucio out of Argentina. Even Steven in his own zone. Timac on his own as well. The battle's still pretty much red hot between Jesse Carlson and Alan Richardson. Strider there running in 4th. Pac-Man has dropped back a few more car lengths since we checked on him. He's scored in the 5th position. Kyle Bowers, Showtime, in the yellow and blue Nesquik machine. He scored in the 6th spot. And we're getting word that Bo Tedesco had a problem that most recent lap. He was up there in the top 10, and he's lost a lot of track time. He now is scored in the 11th position, and we have another car who has pulled off the racetrack. Some drivers towards the tail end of the field are experiencing severe handling issues, and they're having to make multiple pit stops anytime they go off course and make contact with something, and apparently that has happened a couple of times. Willow Springs International, a very tough road course. You push too hard, you go off course, you get in the dirt, you get in the grass. Very easy to hit something here, or just get those tires dirty and you got to recover for a couple of corners. "60-minute endurance races." We are working the 14-minute mark now, 14 and 25. You see it at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And they're on lap 15. It's all even Steven so far, and the gap is only increasing between he and the Canadian Timac, who's currently scored in the 3rd position. Jesse Carlson scored, or excuse me, Tyler scored in 2nd rather, and it's Jesse Carlson, the youngster, having a great day up there in 3rd. He's driven away from Pac-Man, last year's NOSSCAR GT Cup Series champion in the GR3 cars. He scored in 4th. Kyle Bowers has silently worked his way up into the top 5 in that Nesquik machine. The highest scored driver out of France is Scorpion, and there you see him scored in the 6th position. His good buddy and his teammate, Beam SKP, finished in the final 4 for the 2021 NOSSCAR Tailgate Truck Series on NASCAR Heat 5, and he usually runs part-time with us here on Gran Turismo Sport, electing to stay out of this one here at Willow Springs. Bo Tedesco goes off course just in front of Bill Baldwin. Bill had enough of a gap to manage that and stay away from that incident. Bill scored in 7th, the defending NOSSCAR Super GT Series champion, 2-time champion of this series. 2 cars off course coming out of the final turn there. Some of these drivers really pushing for everything they can. And no drivers in the top 9 have made their first pit stop of the race. And remember, folks, I believe it was still just on lap 3 or 4 when Bill Baldwin and Jeffrey Robinson Jr. Juicy J there, 7th and 8th. They both went off course and were involved in an on-track incident, and it put them back in 11th and 12th, and now they're both slowly but surely rebounding and working their way back towards the front, scored in 7th and 8th. Rolex 8 winner, Timac 11 on his own, the highest running and highest scored Canadian of the race as of now. And the other Canadian who entered this race, Ned, was up there in the 3rd position. Since then, he's went off course, and now he finds himself outside of the top 10. So the highest hope for Canada at this point would be Timac, but at this point, he's going to need a couple of mistakes from even Steven, your race leader. He is well ahead of the competition and showing no signs of slowing down here at the 17 minute and 20 second mark of this 60-minute endurance race. And scheduled green flag pit stops here beginning, and Jeffrey Robinson Jr., Juicy J, the first one on pit road. He's going to take 4 fresh tires, and he's getting a whole full tank of fuel. It looks like he's still motionless on pit road in his pit stall, taking as much fuel as he can, and he is down and away. And it appears to be a 2-stop strategy today for Juicy J. Many of these drivers this season elect to pit at the 20 and 40-minute mark of these races. Some drivers push it and stay out until the 30-minute mark and push it and make it a 1-stop event. Even Steven surrenders the race lead and is down and away after getting scheduled service. It looks like it's going to be a 2-stop strategy today for Even Steven as well. 2-time NOSSCAR World Champion and former NOSSCAR GT Cup Series champion in the GR3 cars as well. And for the first time all race long, we have a new race leader, and it's the Canadian Timac 11. Rolex 8 winner from this season. 3 NOSSCAR GT Cup Series wins, 3 NOSSCAR Super GT Series wins. No championships, though, here on Gran Turismo in his NOSSCAR career. And we'll have to see when he comes down pit road, see what strategy he's going to take. He's not too far out in front of your race leader, Even Steven, and he comes down. This time he leads the 1 lap, and he's going to surrender the race lead back to Even Steven, and he's going to get scheduled service. Kyle Bowers yet to come to pit road. He's up in the 3rd position as a result. There's Jesse Carlson scored in 4th. I don't believe he's come to pit road yet either. And if so, he might be lifting a little bit to try to save some fuel so he doesn't need to take too much on his next pit stop. Really not too sure. There could be some strategy there for the youngster. No serious strategy for Bowers, though. He's on pit road getting service in the Nesquik machine. First cycle of pit stops is complete, and these drivers are still rocking and rolling. 26-minute mark and 24 seconds. Even Steven still leading the way. Timac in the 2nd place position, still quite a ways back and not challenging for the lead anytime soon. It's going to take a mistake or 2 from Even Steven for the lead to change hands anytime soon. Jesse Carlson beginning to reel in Timac a little bit, and that is going to be the battle for the 2nd place position. Pac-Man in 4th, Bill Baldwin rounding out the top 5, the 2-time Super GT Series champion here, rebounding after that wreck early in this race. I believe it was back on lap 3 or 4. Juicy J was involved in it as well, and you can see him there. He's also rebounded up into the 6th place position. Yellow flag once again over in turn 5. I believe it was Robert Lohman Sr. scored in the 12th position, 3 laps down, and it's It's been a problem corner over there. It's been a hot spot on the track all race long here. Turn 5, very tricky, very tight. It's an uphill corner. Looks like you can take it much quicker, but really you cannot, and it costs you if you don't take it correctly. They're all chasing even Steven. 9 cars on the lead lap, but it looks like Kyle Bowers might be the next to go. 1 lap down, just a couple of car lengths in front of your race leader. 14 drivers started the event. We have 12 left on the racetrack. The 2 drivers out of the race, the Canadian Ned and the Argentinian driver of Lucio. And problems there for Bo Tedesco. He's running in the 11th position. He's in danger of going a 3rd lap down, I believe, here, and he gives way for the leader. He went off course a couple of times there, once in turn 5 and again over in turn 6. The game actually resetted him and put him back on the racetrack where he went off. That's how bad he cut again, and he's going to hang on to it, but yeah, it's a tough break. And now I believe it's an unscheduled pit stop for Timac. Not sure what exactly happened there, but this actually might cost him. Don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end from here without stopping again. A lot all happening at once. 7 cars left on the lead lap. Scorpion, the driver out of France, the last car on the lead lap. You can see him just in front of your race leader there every now and then. Probably about a 4 or 5 car length gap between the two. Even Steven laying down a blistering pace here today. Qualified on the pole. So far holds the fastest race lap. He's by far led the most laps, and Scorpion overdrives turn 5. It's been a trouble corner all race long. We've been talking about it. He gets back onto the racetrack, but he surrenders the 7th place position to Kyle Bowers, KB Showtime, in the process. Kyle becomes the first car 1 lap down. We have 6 cars left on the racetrack. At the beginning of the broadcast, we were talking about how it's going to be a survival type of race. Keep your car on the racetrack at all costs, and the driver who makes the fewest amount of mistakes is going to either win this race or get a podium finish, and I believe it's really lived up to that here this afternoon. UCJ, former NOSSCAR champion on the Supercross game. Back when we held NOSSCAR Supercross events, it was quite the season. 15 wins for him in 1 season. It was a NOSSCAR Supercross record, still is, because that season since then has been archived and folded. Here he is on Gran Turismo Sport, having a great run. He's had a great season. Nearly found victory lane a couple of times this season in the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series, and many of the veterans here in these 2 series that we host on Gran Turismo Sport firmly believe that UCJ is one to watch in the future. Even Steven out front, coming up on the back bumper of the driver in 5th. That'd be the Canadian Timac. Made that 2nd pit stop, and it was a unscheduled pit stop. Had to have had a problem, or maybe even lost control and went down pit road inadvertently, and I'm really not too sure, but as of now, he's scored in the 5th place position. First car 1 lap down, and when he did come to pit road, it was at about the 24 or 25 minute mark, and I really don't think he can make it to the end from here on fuel. And even if he can on fuel, those tires are going to be in terrible shape, so he might find himself having to come to pit road yet again. And all of these mistakes have really played into the hands of the veteran drivers like Pac-Man, former GT Cup Series champion, Bill Baldwin, running in 4th now, the 2-time Super GT Series champion, and of course Juicy J, Jeffrey Robinson Jr., rebounding from 12th all the way back to the 6th place position. Steven just a moment ago finished his service on pit road, and I don't believe we'll see him come to pit road anymore. That might have been it for the two-time world champion on pit road. Jesse Carlson surrenders second. He's going to take his final pit stop of the race. Max stays on the racetrack, it looks like, and he might try to limp it home and save some fuel and make it to the end. It might be best to short pit and take some tires. We'll have to see. He's got Jesse Carlson and he's got Pac-Man both right behind him in the third and the fourth place positions. Bill Baldwin scored in fifth. No other takers on pit road this most recent time by. Ryder stays on the racetrack. Showtime and the Nesquik machine rounding the final turn, and we'll keep our camera on him to see if he's coming in for his final pit stop of the race this time by or not, and he will. The crew in the yellow suits standing there waiting with the fuel cans and the tires in hand. He slides into a stop and up goes the car on the jacks. Quick pit stop for the Nesquik team. And it's still even Steven out front, and you just saw the purple sector time pop up in the center of the screen. He's still running hot laps, folks. He's running like it's the last lap. He's running like it's qualifying time. And just further extending the gap over his competition. He knows he's got the fuel and the tires to the finish. He knows the driver in second more than likely does not, and he knows the driver in third and fourth do, but we're so far back that they won't be able to do anything about it unless he makes a major mistake. Well in hand is the victory for even Steven, unless something dramatic happens to him in the late stages. We're at the 42-minute mark, about to be at the 43-minute mark of this 60-minute endurance race, round 10 of the 2021 NOSSCAR Super GT Series season, hosted on Gran Turismo Sport. Riding in the GR1 cars, balance of performance setting is turned on. Therefore, all of these cars are slightly altered in the horsepower and the weight to make it a bit more of a competitive and fair matchup. So it really comes down to the driver versus driver in these series. There's Jesse Carlson. And you gotta wonder if he's just being patient. He knows that the car in front of him has much older tires. He knows that if he can just stay on him and pressure him, he's going to use up the fuel that he might not have to make it to the end of this race. And he makes the pass. He'll take P2. Timac slides to third. Pac-Man right there in fourth. They're all in a line, nose to tail. Funny how at the end of a 60-minute endurance race, how some drivers can just be glued to each other at the end of it. It's just how evenly matched some of these guys can be at times in the NOSSCAR Super GT Series. One car on pit road. There is Robert Ullman Sr. Let's give a call out to Shadow as well. Can't commit full time to preparing and testing for these races. Comes out and does what he can. And right now currently scored in the 10th position, having a pretty good day. At a very difficult racetrack, I might add, and the best battle on the racetrack by far is the one for second, third, and fourth. Jesse Carlson, Timac, and Pac-Man still nose to tail. It's taken a while for Pac-Man to get up there towards the front. Didn't qualify very good. Not a very easy track to make passes on. There's a few passing zones, but you really do need the car in front of you to really miss the corner, to really take full advantage to make that pass or even get alongside them. So it's just been a long day and a long process to get Pac-Man up towards the front and battling for a podium spot. He will pull to the inside of Timac and take over that third place position. You could really see the lack of power out of the red and white car coming out of that corner, going down the straightaway. You can tell Timac is really playing with the throttle and trying to save his fuel. Much less fuel, much less tires than some of these drivers in front of him. It'll be a miracle if he can hang on and finish in that fourth place position. If he makes another pit stop, he'll likely lose a top 5 finish. Under 10 minutes remaining until we see another dominating victory by Even Steven. Just closing in. 4 cars left on the lead lap, and the battle just in front of him for second, third, and fourth. What an accomplishment it would be if Even Steven can get up there and put a lap on these drivers. We haven't seen that in quite some time, and I don't know if we've ever seen it in a NOSSCAR race on Gran Turismo Sport. Hard to believe. These drivers are working lap 50 here at a very difficult track here, very difficult circuit on Gran Turismo Sport in a very fast car. GR1 cars, they don't play. Driver doing a great job. Some of these drivers getting the blue flag to get out of the race leader's way. Timac elects to do that, and so does Pac-Man. And that leaves only 2 cars left on the lead lap, and that'd be Even Steven, your race leader, and Jesse Carlson, who's not too far in front of him. Final lap here. It turns out we're going to complete 58 here for round 10 of the 2021 NOSSCAR Super GT Series season at Willow Springs International Raceway. Even Steven wins the Willow Springs Grand Prix in dominant fashion, leading all but 1 of those 58 laps. Jesse Carlson is going to hold on to second. Pac-Man is going to join those 2 drivers on the podium. Timac, with the unexpected and unscheduled pit stop, is going to have to settle for the 4th place position. Bill Baldwin is going to claim 5th. What a recovery for he and Juicy J. They're going to claim 5th and 6th after falling back early in this one to the 11th and 12th place positions. Strider is going to take home 7th. Scorpion is going to claim 8th. Some of these drivers coming around to complete their final lap. Kyle Bowers in the Nesquik machine finishes in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Shadow, one of our drivers who has multiple wins in the NOSSCAR Tailgate Truck Series, NOSSCAR Motormaster Series, as well as the Platinum Cup Series over on the NASCAR Games side of things. Congratulations to the 2-time world champion Even Steven on an impressive day here at Willow Springs International Raceway. Thank you for joining us for round 10 of the season on Gran Turismo Sport. We hope you enjoyed the action, and we hope you enjoyed today's show. Check us out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/NOSSCAR Series Racing. Good night, everybody, and stay fast.